I think that they do need to change some core gameplay aspects of competitive gaming, and forcing weapon variety is at the top of the list. As a spectator, it's really I don't want to say frustrating because I don't get frustrated watching people play video games, but it gets really, really repetitive seeing Battles and ASM ones. Like I want to see a Bal, I want to see ASM one, I want to see HBR, I want to see a KSM, I want to see Moors, I want to see like I would love it if and what I threw it out on Twitter, what the idea that I threw it on Twitter, and it's certainly not like it's not my idea. I don't know. I can't remember where I got it. But it's 4v4. You force players to have one of each class and have the shotty and the sniper be interchangeable. So you have one LMG, one AR, one SMG, and one shotty or sniper for every game type.
I
There
think it'd be
has to be.
if you have an LMG, I think this will be. Look, again,
The ML is competitive though. The ML, I mean, it's not competitive on the same in the same way that the BAL is, but it's not a terrible gun.
at the end of the day, like, and another thing, right? And this is again blaming ourselves and not blaming the organization. Like, do you guys think, okay? Do you guys think that if MLG puts these rules in place because Activision told them to put these rules in place where you can't use this and you can't use that, do you think, right, that the second the game starts and the countdown is happening and the show is going on, do you think that MLG or Activision is going to stop anybody from playing it if if the players themselves have agreed within themselves to restrict themselves to one certain? I mean, shit. If they wanted to, they could play S&D all 5 rounds. Who's gonna stop them?
That's never gonna happen though.
Okay, well,
You're never gonna have all these organizations getting together. Like you already saw that with like let's all agree like gentlemen's agreement that we're not gonna use cloak or what was it cloak or stim in the beginning, and people were using those things. Like it's unrealistic to have the expectation that all these organizations are going to number one agree to do that, number two honor that agreement after the fact.
what I'm saying is that we could. We hold the cards. Is what I'm saying.
Well, then get on it, man. I want to see some fucking weapon variety.
I don't think that we need to do that. I think that the way the game is being played right now is good. I think if we were going to change anything, it should be S&D should change. S&D should be the one where roles are played.
Okay, I see what you're saying there. Um, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying there. Like with respawn, I think it's a little less important, but I would still love to see like if you just made one simple rule for respawn games that you can't have more than one of the same gun on the team. Only one person gets the bow. Is it going to be formal? Is it going to be crimsick? Is it going to be scump? Like
100%. But to say, all right, one has to use a shotgun or a sniper instead of, I think that look for respawn specifically, right? I think that the way that it is right now is super action packed right now, especially in hardpoint or in capture the flag. I think they're even uplink. I mean, right now that the way that is being played is it's exciting. Everything's happening. Everything's going right. I think S&D is the only one that's lacking a little bit of a style in a sense, right? And I do agree, and people do use snipers, right? But the ability to switch over from your sniper to your
to the ASM
ASMR
one, yeah.
is what is a little bit cheap, and makes it a little bit boring. But 100%, I agree. Change does need to happen, but the change is going to happen within ourselves before it happens with the higher ups in a sense.
But what does that even mean?
What it means is that there's nothing stopping us, the players, and I consider myself a player because I'm an organization that says we need to abide by their rules.
No, see, like I this is where I'm going to disagree with you. I think that's on MLG. I think that's on the organizations that are putting together these events and leagues. Because it doesn't matter what you guys say amongst yourselves, unless it's written down in stone. These are the rules. Then all bets are off. You can't, especially if you have something like Call of Duty Champs where there's $1 million on the line or $1 million prize pool. Who the fuck is going to honor an agreement there? It's just not going to happen. When you dangle that much money in front of people,
No, well, this is what I'm saying. The people that are complaining about it are the same people that would not honor the agreement, so they should shut up and continue to keep their heads down and work. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's talking about change. Everybody's talking about we need to do this. Everybody's a fucking expert on things that need to be done, but nobody's going to do shit about it.
I don't think the pro players should be the ones deciding these things. I
Okay,
think they
well,
should.
nobody else is going to decide it, is what I'm saying.
I,
And you're
I,
not going to make them decide it.
I think that. Well, I'm just saying. I think that I think the pro players are the last people that should be deciding these things, because then you have a situation like what happened with Ghosts, where there actually was variety. People like I hated that they got rid of LMGs and like which shotgun did they get rid of? The Bulldog. Like I hated that they got rid of that. But what was it like? Killa was complaining, and then organized. Was he the one that organized like a campaign to get MLG to get these weapons taken out of the league? Like I hated that. I loved seeing more than just MTARs and Vectors and Remingtons. And then when they took that rule out, it was still like back to the same two guns the entire time. I think like okay, yeah, they have expertise on how maybe to play the game. Like I don't even think it was imbalanced that you had LMGs. I just think that it annoyed certain players that they couldn't adapt to. Like how do you adapt to an LMG being sprayed down like Red One or something like that on Freight and S&D, and instead of really working it out and figuring out how to counter that, they just lobby to get the gun taken out. I just don't agree with that at all.
All right. My point this whole time is that everybody's an expert. Everybody knows what needs to be done, but nobody's going to do it. Which means that the higher ups, MLGs, the Activisions, are not going to do anything about it, right? Because as of right now, business is good. Business is real good. Why fix what's not broken is what they're going to say. And until we ourselves have an agreement, which will be honored, nothing's going to happen. So again, just continue to do your work. Nothing's going to change until we change it ourselves.
I hear what you're saying. That makes sense. It's frustrating as a viewer, as a spectator, because I do tune into all these events every weekend that they're on, and they're having they you know and I don't want to knock MLG too much because they as like as far as presentation goes, they're at the top of their game. Like their presentation wise, their programming and the way that they present these events is pretty fucking epic. And I want to tip my hat to all the commentators too, because like the commentating team that they have right now is like the best it's ever been and the best it's ever gonna be for quite a while. Like they have such a good team.
Ooh, I'm telling you, Fwiz. Anyway, no, I agree 100%. And not only that, but people always seem to like throw MLG under the bus, right? But like, oh, it's MLG's fault that we're fucking doing this. MLG's fault that they opened up their own live stream platform and it's killing Call of Duty. But if it wasn't for MLG, we would literally not have the amount of money that's on the line to make this shit work. Like, think about it, right? It even it at one point or another, somebody showed up to an event and saw 17 people watching Call of Duty because the prize pool was like $10,000, and then they saw Halo and fucking stands filled to the top. Awesome, right? It took Halo to the franchise to fuck up in some way or another that allowed Call of Duty to have a shining moment. And we did the best of it. With that little opportunity that we had, we built what we have in front of you today. And for people to just dog MLG left and right, it just annoys me. And it is not because I like the guys at MLG. It's not because it's just from an outsider's perspective, don't be an idiot, right? Like, look at what they have done also, right? Like, it's not just they do this wrong. It's like, cheer them out for the shit that they do right.
And Activision too. I think it was obviously like MLG played a big part in Call of Duty's push to be the number one esport that they feature on their programming, but and Halo kind of failing in some respects had a lot to do with that too. But if you look at like the first Call of Duty championships, but like for example, like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 at that COD XP event, $1 million tournament, and when you had Activision put up that much money, like that got a lot of attention, and that got a lot of players' attention, that got a lot of spectators' attention. I think that was like a huge point in Call of Duty was after that XP event where they all played for $1 million for the first time. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Like, I think like there's like a hive mind mentality on social media where when one person says something like, for example, Stroh saying this weekend that he didn't say that Call of Duty was broken. He just said that it some aspects of it need to change, and he shared his opinion. But him saying that turned into, I think a lot of people like took that to mean something else, and then all of a sudden like people are blowing up on Twitter, and then by the end of an hour long social media conversation, you have people saying Call of Duty's dead and it's on the way out and it's never going to succeed on the same level as CS:GO. And I don't know if it ever will. I'm not an expert. I don't. We'll see how it plays out. I think it can. There's nothing to stop it from doing that. But I don't think the sky is falling quite yet when it comes to like viewership and popularity of Call of Duty as an esport. Um, I mean, the other thing too is that Counter Strike has had this installed base. I mean, there were still 100,000 people playing Call of Duty, or I'm sorry, Counter Strike
That's
1.6 on a daily basis, like 10 years after the game came out. So
Yeah.
the game's been around for what, 2 decades now? Over 2 decades? No, no, not 2 decades.
Close to it.
Almost 2 decades. I think it was like 2000 2001 is when Counter Strike 1.6 came out, if I'm not mistaken.
We're rounding up. So yeah,
Yeah.
2 decades.
So the game has been around for quite a long time, and it's had not only has it been around, but it's had an insanely dedicated fan base that have a tremendous amount of love and nostalgia for this game. So
All over the globe.
yeah. So like what you were saying earlier about how like people shouldn't be surprised that Counter Strike got over 1 million concurrents this last weekend. While that might be true, I still think it's a huge accomplishment. I mean, that's gonna
100%.
that's
Yeah, 100%. I was speaking more towards the fact that people were surprised that it's doing good, like
yeah.
in a competitive setting, right? Like bro, I just like I said in the earlier conversation, when I saw Grizz and Top National Multimedia getting those viewerships, I felt that it's a personal success, and it wasn't me benefiting from their views, right?
Yeah.
Is the same shit is happening right now. I see League of Legends success. I see everybody's,
Dota
Counter Strike
2.
success. Everybody's success, and I'm like, shit, that's us. In a couple of years, that is us. But everybody wants to take that fucking shortcut. Want to be lazy, and want to just be there, right? Everybody thinks like that Optic was like that Optic is here. Like they forget. I mean, we have been an organization since 2006. Well, not really. But we really started in 2008 when I took over and like really made a push for it to be a professional thing instead of just like a random team. But think about it. 2008. We're about to be what is this? 5 years? Almost 6 years? Wait, what's my math? 8, 7 years. Sorry,
Been a
7 years.
minute.
Yeah, it's been a long time to get to where we're at. It's not an overnight success, man. It took us close to 10 years to become an overnight success. It's people always want to take a shortcut, man. They always want to get the Nate Shot views because they're a pro player and they're better than Nate Shot. They're not there doing what he does. They're not grinding the way we're grinding. So if they want to do the same thing, and I'm not going to let this happen. I'm not going to let Call of Duty become a Call of Duty player that wants success overnight and want to be Nate Shot overnight, right? I'm not gonna let that shit happen. I'm not gonna let somebody say, "Well, Scumpy is getting this. Why don't I get it?" Right? Just because you want it doesn't mean that you're gonna get it. Call of Duty's not gonna be that. It'll never be that. I'm not gonna allow it to be that. We're gonna grind our way to the top so we can be proud of the shit that we built, not just something that we just came along and became a part of just because we were there.
Well said, my friend. Well said. We should probably, I could talk to you about this shit for like hours, so we should probably find a way to close this out for now. And if enough people in the comments throw some questions out there that we'd be down to talk about, I'm sure Hector would be willing to come on again, and we can we can shoot the shit about whatever. But I have a couple questions I want to close this out with. First question is what's been your favorite memory so far? Very specifically, I want very specific memories. What's been your favorite memory so far of this whole journey on YouTube and esports, and what's been your least favorite memory?
My least favorite memory has absolutely have to be every single time that I've had to replace a player that I was really close with. That's like the shittiest part of my job.
Okay,
Uh,
let me. I want to get real with you. What was the worst?
Merc for sure.
Why?
So it went south really quickly. A personal relationship went south really quickly because it just went sour, man. That people one of us was being upfront with their feelings and the other one wasn't. I'll just leave it at that.
All right. And then
And
your
then
favorite memory?
my favorite memory, man, winning COD XP.
I was
Winning
gonna.
COD XP because I saw my team up there in shining lights, and then I saw me in the crowd with you, Mr. Sark, fucking Guy Beam, T Martin, Bash, like all the
Yeah.
YouTubers just fucking cheering and celebrating. It was me celebrating for a team, right? But like it was hard for me to be like, holy shit, that's my team. I celebrated because it was a team that I liked,
Yeah.
not because it was my team. So that's definitely my favorite memory.
That's one of my favorite memories was the COD XP event for sure. And then 10 minutes later to have Kanye West go on stage, and Kanye West turned into kind of a dickhead after that, but like at the time, that was such a great way to end the entire weekend. Well, thanks for coming on, dude. Do you want to play some Umu today? What's up?
Yes, I'm ready.
What time you want to do it at?
I have the itch. I got to record some shit with Pamash, but that's outside conversation. Thank you for having me on, man. I do appreciate it. I've always wanted to have a podcast esque thing with you, so this kind of gave me a little scratch to my itch.
Yeah.
But that's something that we could do. I always wanted to be on Painkiller already, but you chose to have people that weren't that didn't have my side.
Painkiller already?
No, sorry, fucking host migration.
There you go, pal. There you go. You would have gotten there at some point, but then I got hired and I didn't have time to do the podcast anymore.
The fact that I wasn't there, like, come on, bro. Look at your boy, bro. Come on.
You were
Anyway,
gonna get there eventually. I don't know what the problem. All right, well, just hit me up when you guys are ready to hop on some Moo. Thanks for coming on, pal, and good luck in all the things you do in life.
you too, man. I miss you. I love you. And Drifter's cock.